This is NDTV, and you're watching NDTV 24/7.
Hello and welcome to Your Questions on Coronavirus. This is where we get medical experts to answer your questions, discuss the medical breakthroughs and much, much more. Well, on a day when India goes into the fourth phase of its lockdown, which is going to actually see many previous curbs being lifted, what is life now going to be like for the next couple of weeks, and then perhaps in the weeks ahead when there are further easing, or when there is further easing of restrictions, what are the precautions we need to take? Well, today we're joined by doctors from around the country, actually. Dr. Nihar Mehta, consultant cardiologist, is with us from Jaslok Hospital and Reliance Hospital in Mumbai. He also works with Breach Candy Hospital as well. Dr. Santosh Chaube, who's a senior consultant endocrinologist, joins us from the Sahara Hospital, Lucknow. Dr. Faraz Farishta, Associate Professor in Medicity Institute of Medical Sciences, who's a consultant endocrine and diabetologist, joins us from Hyderabad. So we're going to specifically focus on your cities as well, doctors, as they open up and take questions from our viewers. But let me begin by throwing one of my own. We're going to see a significant easing of restrictions, including some public transport coming back on the roads. There is now no longer a restriction from the center, for instance, on shared cab aggregator apps like Ola and Uber, or for that matter, public taxis. So now these are going to be shared spaces. Are there going to be specific precautions that we as citizens need to take if we're using public transport? Of course, the states are still to decide on how much they're going to open up. But for instance, we've already heard that Bengal is going to allow many more taxis back on the road. So what do people have to keep in mind in situations like that? Dr. Farishta, if you'd like to answer that.
Yeah, definitely. I think with the restrictions being lifted now, I think the most important thing which people have to think about is, I would say, just when they are taking a taxi, avoid men. Men is not men, but it is, you need to avoid mouth, ear and your nose. So that is the T zone, what we call. So they do not need to touch it when we are getting in a taxi.
Okay, so anything else the doctors would like to add to that, Dr. Mehta?
Yeah, a couple of things. I think, like my colleague said, that avoid touching your face and things like that. But a couple of more things is that we must make sure that our hands are clean. And in a taxi, it would be better to keep the windows down so that you're not a risk to the driver and the driver is not a risk to you. Wearing masks is equally important because it's a contained or a closed space. So we have to get back to normal. So it's good that we are opening up, but we must not forget the precautions that we have learned over the last 2 months.
Right. Okay, let's go across to our first caller this morning. Ramana Rao is calling us from Hyderabad. Ramana, welcome to the show. Go ahead with your question.
Good morning to all of you.
Good morning.
My question is regarding my sister-in-law who is pregnant. We are residing in Red Zone, Hyderabad. Remaining family members are having some comorbid issues and employees. Every day they are going to office and coming. Whether they can meet our sister-in-law or not. One is on dialysis, another is on surviving single kidney. Both are employees. Whether they can meet her or not.
All right. So Ramana Rao is worried about his sister-in-law who's pregnant. There are other members of the family, including senior citizens. There are those with comorbidities. Can they meet each other? And no doubt this is a question that a lot of families have at this point. So Dr. Chaube, if you would like to answer that.
Sure, Ankita. I think what we need to do here is that need to be aware who is at highest risk. So the 3 persons, the pregnancy of course is a risk factor. It is very well known now that people who are pregnant, they are at high risk of contracting the infection if they are exposed. Being on dialysis, of course, means someone has chronic kidney disease. The third person who has single kidney, whether that person has single kidney but no chronic kidney disease, then that person might be considered to be all right if the age is less than 65 years. and have no other comorbidities like hypertension or diabetes or being on some medication which can jeopardize your risk of, your fighting capacity. I will say that they should avoid meeting each other, at least in this time. When the virus, we see the graph, it's going up. So if possible, they should. If they have to, then the precautions with which we are all now very well aware
Yeah.
that we should try to maintain a distance, 6 feet, using face mask, using sanitizer, washing your hands should be taken care of.
Dr. Mehta, in addition to that, I mean, Mumbai, for instance, has been in the headlines for perhaps all the wrong reasons. We're hearing at this point that curbs may not be relaxed or, to the same extent in Mumbai and in other parts of Maharashtra that are that are badly affected as other cities around the country. But given the fact that we are currently at, we've crossed the 90,000 case number, the curve hasn't really been flattened to the extent that we would like. Obviously, there is a need to open up, a need to kind of reopen the economy, kickstart the economy. But obviously, all of this comes with riders. So in your opinion, how much is too much?
So, I think that there are three benefits of this lockdown when you think about it from a medical point of view. Number one is that it has made us and everybody in large aware that this is a serious problem, and it has made us aware of how to take care of ourselves and take care of our loved ones. So it's first of all increased our awareness. Number two is that this lockdown and these curbs, they've sort of bought the hospitals some time.
Right.
They've brought our cities a little time to expand services, care, containment zones, hospitals and beds, so that you can prepare for the oncoming onslaught of cases. And number three is that it's avoided at a single point or an explosion of cases.
Right.
We've not heard of people waiting in the emergencies, waiting for a ventilator. We've not heard of doctors having to choose between who to put on a ventilator, as we have in some of the more developed countries in Europe and in America. So in a way, these curbs have to be welcomed to a certain extent, but at some point we will have to relax it as well. Since Mumbai is probably the biggest hotspot, might make a little more sense to prepare ourselves better before we relax the curbs.
Right. All right. Yes. Wise words there. Let's also get a call in right now from one of our viewers. Amit is joining us from Kolkata. Amit, welcome to the show. Go ahead with your question.
Yeah, ma'am. I got engaged 3 months back, but my marriage is deferred because of the pandemic.
Okay.
So I want to ask if I met my fiancé in the car and with the proper mask on, and if we hold our hands, but we don't touch our face. We hold our hands, we don't touch our face, and the mask is on, and we sanitize our hand after holding the hands.
All right.
Can we still contract the virus?
All right, Dr. Chaubey, if you'd like to answer that, I mean, there are a lot of questions, no doubt, about sort of, people who are not part of the same family right now, who probably want to meet. What are the social distancing norms going ahead for people? What should they be careful about?
You're not going to contract the virus, but just by touching someone, as you know. The same thing holds true for the HIV and other viral illnesses like hepatitis, etc. Just by touching. It has to go inside your body. This virus, fortunately, is very fragile. So if you are going to use, something like hand sanitizer after holding the hand and using it properly, and the other person, of course, doesn't have any symptom, although the symptoms may lag by 1 or 2 days after contracting the illness. But applying the common sense, and I don't think we can stay away from these situations. So I think the question is very, very relevant, that people should be comfortable in going back to normal life with precautions.
All right, so that's very important. It's time to take perhaps baby steps towards getting back to life as we knew it, but with precautions. That is the most important part. This is not, I mean, there is definitely a before Corona period and an after Corona period. So we can't allow ourselves to forget that even for a second. So those precautions and the care needs to be taken at all times. The next question coming in from Mumbai, Piali is with us. Piali, welcome to the show. What's your question?
Yeah, good morning, Ankita, and good morning, doctors. This is Piali from Mumbai. My question is, with monsoon is just a few maybe weeks away from us. So, and as we all know that Mumbai, it's a prolonged, monsoon for 4-5 months. So my question would be, will this coronavirus get more, aggravated during monsoon?
Yeah. Okay.
Number one. Number two, if it is, then apart from hand hygiene, practice of hand hygiene and wearing of mask, what else can we do to prevent ourselves, especially when we are traveling on a public transport?
Dr. Mehta, would you like to answer that? I mean, Mumbai really has perhaps one of the longest monsoons. It's also a heavy monsoon. There are worries that, would that in any way aggravate the incidence of COVID cases? And what about using public transport during the monsoon?
Well, that's a very important question, and we've really had a lot of similar questions about weather and hot weather, humid weather. As of now, evidence does not tell us that a change in the weather really affects the virus much, because as you've seen, all over the globe there have been cases in practically every country. So it's very unlikely that the virus would get that badly affected by the monsoon, or whether increase or decline. But only time will tell. As of now we don't know. But a very important point here is that the monsoon comes with a host of other diseases.
Yes.
Like the malarias, the dengues. Those are not going to go down because of coronavirus.
Right.
So we must make sure that we are taking the adequate precautions against those as well. Keep ourselves free from mosquitoes, flies, from waterborne diseases, washing our hands, washing the vegetables we have. Those are as important, boiling the water if possible. So these things are very important, as is every year in the monsoon in Bombay. So we must take these precautions. Coming to the second question about travel and transport and public transport, like we said, when trains open up, we must not forget our basics. Hand washing is the new norm, and physical distancing is the new norm. So when our trains open up, our authorities will help us in determining how we are able to travel at what levels of distances. It's not going to be the same overcrowded trains that we have been experiencing so far. There will be some norms in place. Right. So make sure that your distance and is maintained and your hands are clean. One more point I would like to make here is that masks and gloves give us a false sense of security. Although we can use them, but we should not forget to wash our hands, even if it is over the gloves. So remember these few points, please.
All right. Dr. Chaubey, anything else you would like to add at this point? And, very specifically about the point that other diseases are also going to be around. So in a situation where we perhaps shouldn't be going to the hospitals unless absolutely necessary, is it sort of more important than ever before to keep ourselves healthy and fit and, hopefully not contract any other disease?
Ankita, India as a country, we are pushed by non-communicable and communicable diseases. So you see people with heart conditions, with diabetes, with hypertension, all the numbers are going up. So we are going to be the diabetic capital of the world. At the same time, the communicable diseases, of course, we are unfortunately has not been able to contain them. The factors, of course, are various, and there should be public health people and, of course, the administration, etc., who should be able to thinking about that and thinking about how to rationalize the budget, etc. But they should be made answerable about this as well. If you ask me that how we are going to manage in Mumbai I seriously doubt that in 6 months down the track, we somehow should be able to devise a strategy to manage the crowding. Our time will tell. But what we can do as a personal duty is, as Dr. Mehta rightly said, that keep your hands away from your face and eyes. That's what you can do, and nose. These are the important things. Use hand sanitizer, etc.
Right.
I don't think anything more than that one can offer with this in this fight with the disease.
Right, right. Fair enough. All right, we will take a very quick break. We have more callers online with us, but I do need to take a break. We'll be back in just a moment. Welcome back to this edition of Your Questions on Coronavirus. We have lots of callers online with us, so I'm going to take a couple of questions before I take them back to our medical experts. James is calling us from Manipur. James, welcome to the show. Go ahead.
Good morning, Nikita.
Good morning.
To all the doctors. I have one question which has been viral in social media in the past 2-3 weeks. Is it coronavirus can be spread through pet dogs? And number one. Number two is if it can be spread through this, if it is confirmed, and what do we do with these mosquitoes and flies? I'm quite confused about this. I would like to be grateful if respected doctors can explain to us.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Dr. Farishta, if you'd like to take that, he's worried about whether this can spread from pet dogs. And also now with, again, the rainy season coming up, there's this worry about mosquitoes and other sort of vector-borne diseases. Those are his questions.
Yeah, Ankita. So first thing is, still now there is no confirmation regarding transmission from animals. So I think you can just be assured at this stage and do not be panicky or do not have any paranoia. And vector-borne diseases, I think as my colleagues have already shared, yes, with dengue and malaria, I think we'll have more cases of dengue and malaria than what we are having with corona, which we see every year. So you have to be very, very careful for avoiding of waterlogged areas. You have to be careful where you are moving around so that you just keep away from distance from these areas, because you are have more chances of contacting dengue and malaria than corona in this season.
Fair enough. Smriti is also with us from Hyderabad. Smriti, go ahead.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, sir. First of all, I would like to thank NDTV for this kind of initiative where we can interact with the fine doctors. Ma'am, my small question is whether conjunctivitis is a symptom of this COVID virus, because there are no other symptoms that I've got, but yesterday suddenly disappeared from nowhere because there is no fever, nothing. So I just wanted to check. And also, if there is, if it is not related to COVID virus, so is there any chance like I can just get rid of this at home, like conjunctivitis, because there are no clinics open. So I would like to check if there, yeah.
All right. Whoever would like to answer that, she feels she has conjunctivitis. She's wondering whether this is in any way linked to corona. I think anything anybody contracts now, that's the big question that they first have. So it's obviously like everyone is anxious at this point. But how can she treat it at home? Whoever would like to take it.
Yeah, Ankita, I think I'll just take this opportunity. So the symptoms which were initially said for COVID were cough, shortness of breath, and fever. So these were the three cardinal symptoms where we were taking it as symptoms of COVID, and then few other symptoms have been added as metallic taste, myalgia, shivering. And then yes, there have been 1 or 2 cases reported with conjunctivitis presenting as COVID, but that is very, very rare. So it is just rare as flying in a flight where your chances are nil of getting losing your life in a crash. It is just like that. So do not get panicky about conjunctivitis. It could just be a simple conjunctivitis. You can just wash your eyes 2 or 3 times a day with just water. In case if you develop any fever, if you develop any swelling of the eyes, then I think, yes, you need to consult a medical specialist.
All right. We have a caller from Bengaluru. Vishwanath Swami is with us. Vishwanath, welcome to the show. Go ahead with your question.
We have a caller from Bengaluru.
Mr. Swami, if I can ask, if I could request you to turn your TV screen off, please. If you could just lower your volume and ask your question.
No, I can't hear anything.
No, you'll hear me. You'll hear my question. So go ahead and ask
I
the
can't
doctors.
hear.
After you've asked your question, you can turn your TV back on.
Hello?
All right, we seem to be having trouble with that line. Mr. Swami, if you can hear me, just go ahead and ask your question. All right, I'll repeat Mr. Swami's question, which I have here with me. He is 70 years old, and he says he's one of the oldest corona warriors of Bengaluru because he goes out to supply food, grain, etc. to the needy. He wants to know whether it's a misconception that older people are more prone to the virus. All the advisories say those above 65 need to strictly isolate at home. He's saying he hasn't done that. It's been 50 odd days of the lockdown and he's fine. What would you like to say to him?
Well, may I answer that?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Yeah. So it's not true that older people are more prone or less prone, but once an older person contracts the virus, they are at a slightly higher risk for having a higher requirement of oxygen, for developing a more serious disease. Nevertheless, we've seen far older people, even in their 80s, 90s, who have recovered, and we have seen younger people who have succumbed. So more important is that while our caller is doing such good work, he must continue, but with all the adequate precautions which we mentioned again and again. So we should avoid contracting the illness out of our own carelessness. So that hand washing and the masks, these are going to go a long way in the future as well.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Thank you very much indeed, Drs. Mehta, Chaube and Farishta for joining us. Thank you all for calling in with your questions, and we hope our doctors' advice will go a long way in helping answer your queries and doubts at this point. As India opens up, we'll continue to get you all the medical advice you need for specific situations in which you might now find yourself as we come out gradually of this very extended lockdown. Thanks for watching. Do stay tuned. Much more coming up on NDTV 20.